Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member. You know, Mr. Chair, I just want to say that I think that we always have to understand that all of the things we talk about in this committee take place within a certain context. And I'd like just to remind folks, January 15, 2013, no, actually that's the date that this document I'm reading from was cited, but actually it was on the night of Barack Obama's inauguration. A group of top GOP luminaries gathered together in a Washington steakhouse and pledged to each other that they would make President Obama a one-term president and oppose every single thing he did. I'm telling you that since that time, we have seen committee after committee, issue after issue, relentlessly trying to make anything into a scandal or something like that. And I only want to say to my friends who are part of this, you literally are shaking the American people's faith in the institutions of this nation by pursuing that strategy. You said Obama was going to be one-term president. Well, you lost. And you know what? I wish that people would just come to their senses and do what was right for the American people. And I'm going to keep on hoping that we do that. Now, let me just say this also. I've read reports in the press that the Treasury Department worked with foreign partners to effectuate the transfer of funds as part of the Hague Tribunal settlement payment. First of all, this money that we've been talking about, were these funds that were always Iranian funds that we froze? That's a question to anybody on the panel.
Congressman, the $400 million that was paid immediately, those were Iranian funds in the FMS trust fund that's held in the Treasury.
And why were they Iranian funds? What made them Iranian funds?
These were funds that were paid into the FMS trust fund during the course of the Iranian foreign military sales program. And as I noted earlier, that was—
What year?
This would have been from throughout the 1970s and up through 1979 when we had the Memorandum of Understanding.
So back in the 70s, they paid us some money for some items, and we froze that money after the seizure of our embassy.
There was a blocking prior to the following the taking of the embassy. The 1981 Algiers Accords addressed issues that had been taken in response to the hostage taking. The trust fund had always been there. There was a memorandum of understanding, and Iran pointed to that as a basis for its claim that those funds were to be returned to Iran.
Okay, so reports indicate that you worked with both the Dutch as well as the Swiss Central Bank. Can you confirm that?
Sir, we did work with a variety of partners in this transaction.
Now, it was reported in the press that at least one member of Congress said that the U.S. flew pallets of U.S. dollars to Tehran. Would you say that that statement would be accurate? Pallets of U.S. dollars. Is that what happened?
That is inaccurate, sir.
Inaccurate.
Inaccurate.
Okay, so you said inaccurate.
That's correct. As I mentioned in my opening statement, in both transactions, the funds were converted to a foreign currency. They were then withdrawn as foreign currency banknotes.
Right,
US
but
dollars.
you should understand that the whole country is watching this. This is sort of like a theatrical performance, and I don't want to be inarticulate about this. The claim that there was some pallet of U.S. dollars flown from America to Tehran is a false statement. And you said you used the term inaccurate, right?
That's correct. U.S. dollars were not dispersed to Iran.
Right. So, can you mention what foreign financial institutions were involved? Weren't these major institutions? I mean, there's some implication that there's some shady, obscure stuff going on. Were these major reputable institutions that we're talking about who helped facilitate the transfer?
Sir, what I can say is that our partners in both transactions were different central banks, national central banks. In the first transaction, it was the Swiss National Bank. In the second transaction, it was the National Bank of the Netherlands, the Dutch National Bank.
Now, look, in my 38 seconds remaining, I just want to pursue this. I have seen some of my colleagues demanding names of individuals who are somehow played some role in facilitating the whole transaction. As just a member of Congress who has rules around classified information and who has a general commitment to protect and safeguard the lives, interests, and the means and methods of U.S. engagement, particularly with foreign power, how would you regard that? Is that appropriate to disclose the names of individuals And would it jeopardize U.S. national interest to do so in a public open hearing like this?
Congressman, it's certainly our preference to discuss those details in a closed setting.
For the interest of the United States government
Exactly.
and people.
Exactly.
All right, I yield back.